As human beings, one of the most profound gifts we have is the power of our voice. As we're older, we're able to find our own voice. It can be one of the most profound moments of our life. And even watching someone find their voice can be equally transformational, particularly when it's someone that's close to us. Hi, everyone. It's Chris Natzke here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week. And make sure you watch till the end of this video to find a unique way that you can find the power of your voice. You know, for over 4.5 decades, I've been a martial arts instructor and practitioner. And one of the best things about doing that work is being able to help others find the power of their voice. When you see that moment take place, it's just something that sends chills down your spine. And now as a professional speaker and coach, I'm able to help others do that, either through my own speaking directly and using the power of my voice, or actually helping people in life coaching, or actually helping them develop into speakers. But nothing has brought me as much satisfaction as seeing my own son find the power of his voice. You see, my son Jason had grown up struggling with speech almost all of his life. As a young boy, as a young baby actually, he developed a lot of ear infections. And as a result of that, it had a delayed impact on his speech. So much so that when he was just learning to talk, we needed to teach him sign language because he wasn't able to speak. Well, I'm happy to say he overcame that. But what happened after that is this ripple effect of disfluency or stuttering. You know, his mind was moving so fast and he just wasn't able to get the words out. And this is something that started in elementary school, stayed with him through middle school, and actually into high school as well, where it was probably the most painful, when you could just see how self-conscious he was about it. And there's nothing more painful as a parent than to see your own child struggle with his speech. But all that transformed when Jason turned 17. You see, at that time, he and two of his best buddies, and that were martial arts students of mine, they were up for testing for their senior third-degree black belt. Now, up until this time, in their 10-year career, this was going to be the greatest challenge that they ever had in their martial arts training. It was going to be physically demanding. There was going to be a tremendous amount of personal development that they needed to do. And they were also going to be charged with being the leaders of that black belt candidate class that was going to be testing with them. Now, one of the things that they had to do for this test was something called a creative musical form. Now, what that was is each one of these senior third-degree black belt candidates, they had to choose what were their best techniques to demonstrate in a prearranged fashion to music that they were going to perform. And, you know, in looking at years back, these were always our most popular aspects of our black belt testings, when people got to see our most talented athletes perform at a super high level and expressing themselves. Well, Jason went into this plan thinking that's what he was going to do. But a few weeks before his test, he came to me with an alternative. He said, "Dad, you know, I could put together this creative forum, but what would really challenge me is giving a speech." As soon as those words came out of his mouth, my heart stopped. You know, the father inside of me wanted nothing more than to say no, because I wanted to protect him. But the martial arts instructor said this is exactly what he needed to do. So the day of the test came, and he and his friends did an amazing job, as did the other black belt candidates. And the creative forums, like it always was the highlight of the entire day. And then it was time for Jason to give his speech. And I can distinctly remember reaching over the judge's table to hand him the microphone with my hand shaking, just praying, please God, let him get through this. So Jason took the mic and stepped out in front of the crowd, and in front of 300 people, his friends, family members, master instructors at the judge's table, he gave a speech with no stuttering at all. Well, everyone came to their feet when he was done, and I remember coming around from the judge's table and wrapping my arms around him and giving him this huge bear hug. And what was so interesting about that, it wasn't just that moment, it's what happened afterwards. Because after that moment, Jason's stuttering almost disappeared. And I saw him become more confident. And now at the martial arts school, rather than just work behind the front desk, he started wanting to go out and teach students, which is something he had avoided before because he was afraid of stuttering. He then went off to college, and I watched him as in his film career and in practicing with fellow students, give directions confidently as he was leading film crews. And then 4 years after that, I sat in the audience and listened proudly as he was chosen as the commencement speech speaker for his entire graduating class, and once again gave the speech without a stutter. And now Jason has his own business called Stories to Light Film and Photography, where he helps others ignite their own voice through his work. So think about this. Where do you have an opportunity to find the power of your voice? And I want to leave you with 3 ideas that can really help you moving forward to find that power. And number 1 is this, is learn to say yes. Learn to say yes. You know, there are so many times in our lives that we hold back because we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of the discomfort. But what, like Emerson said, is when you know, do the thing you fear and the death of fear is certain. So where do you have an opportunity to say yes to something that might be holding you back? Number 2 is learn to say no. Now, wait a minute, Chris, you said learn to say yes. Well, learning to say no is sometimes just as powerful, because if you find things that aren't in alignment with your voice, with what's speaking to yourself inside, and you're just going along with it, sometimes having the power to say no is one of your best assets. And I love what one of my coaches told me years ago. He said, when our no's are powerful, our yeses are even more powerful. So learn to say no to things that aren't consistent with where you want to go, so you can jump in and say yes to the things that are. And then finally, learn to say, I'm here. You know, part of moving through our obstacles in life, and part of being the greatest success and having the greatest sense of happiness that we can have, is just showing up. So where do you have an opportunity to say, I'm here? I'm here. I'm ready for the challenge. Despite what might happen, I'm ready to be here and show up. So there you have it, my friends. There's my message today on the power of your voice. And I'll tell you what, if you're interested in leaning into this a little bit more, I'd like you to take a look at the link below this video. My good friend and fellow professional speaker, JB Braden, and I are combining in a program that we call the Champion Speakers Academy. Now, in this academy, in this 2-day event, what we're going to do is help people find the power of their voice by developing their story, getting in touch with their why, and developing a presentation that they can either use to promote their own businesses out in the world, or actually become a speaker themselves. So click on the link below if you're inspired to find the power of your voice. So thanks so much for watching. As always, I so appreciate your comments, your likes, your shares. And this has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching. And we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.